All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz, and we are on the road in a couple hours coming up.
Couple hours,
Clash
yeah.
in Paris coming to us on a Sunday, so we'll
Sunday
be
morning.
Sunday morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. If you're on the West Coast, starts at 11 a.m. We'll be seeing it around noon, East Coast 2 o'clock. So should be a fun one. We'll get to that in a bit with our predictions. Before we get there, we're going to do our kind of high level what happened on Raw and SmackDown this week, which is obviously setting the table for the Clash in Paris. So without
Yeah.
further ado, what notable things, Big D, did we take away from Monday night?
We actually had a pretty interesting promo kicked off by Roman Reigns, talking about how he's not yet, because everyone assumes since he's back, he's going to go for the main championship, and because he is the main eventer. I mean, I remember back when he was trying to pull over the big dog gimmick, and I absolutely hated him because I felt like they were just like forcing him to us, and I feel he organically grew and has now come over so much that we just expect him in that title picture every single time. So he kind of like addressed the elephant in the room, was like, I'm not going for that right now. I got other stuff I need to do. His attention's on of course Seth Rollins, because he took away like his shields and all that good stuff. He took away his wise man. And of course that brings up Bronson Reed with the Shula Fala, the tribal thief. But so, you know what? Who better than Paul Heyman to get that over? And that he did, of course. He cut the promo on Roman, talking about Bronson Reed saying it's been 5 years to the 5 years in a few days since, he took the wise man from Brock Lesnar, which I remember that turn. That was a first shock. But again, this was just pretty much just setting up they're gonna have a match at Clash in Paris on Sunday. Sorry, I don't know why I keep thinking Saturday. PLEs are used to being on Saturdays, but never Sundays.
On Sunday in a few hours today.
Yeah.
Going down.
But yeah, so just pretty much all it was just set that up. They had a brawl, big pull apart brawl, which actually continued throughout the night. I thought was actually really fun. There was a part towards the main event when the other Braun Breaker was coming down for his main event match, and Roman Reigns just like beelined him off to the side and just like took him out, then took out Bronson Reed, and then got pushed out and escorted out of the building. So again, this is just more just like a blood feud is what this is being booked as. So that's pretty much what this was. I will say Bronson Reed had some pretty good spots. I don't know if Paul Heyman helped him with it, or this was just him going off the top, talking about how he's the Samoan that his dad and his grandfather warned Roman about, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like, my tribe got banished to Australia while you guys got to, pretty much saying like, y'all got the paradise, we got pushed out to Australia and this and that. And then he said, the only difference between me and you is that your tattoos are paid for by money, mine were earned. I was like,
yeah. Well,
that was a good one.
I really liked that. This took up the first 30 minutes of the
It
show,
did.
so it was a long back and forth, but it was all good stuff. And I really enjoyed Bronson Reed here. They don't give him a lot of opportunities to shine on the mic. They really don't. I think like in NXT earlier they did, but like since he's been on the main roster, they kind of had.
And he's really good on the mic.
He's great on the mic. He's really, really strong. So this I thoroughly enjoyed. He doesn't really need Paul Heyman to be his mouthpiece. Not so much like Braun Breaker really does need Paul Heyman to kind of support him at this point. Bronson Reed doesn't. So I really enjoyed this. This made me excited for their match. I'm kind of curious what direction. I feel like you can't have Roman Reigns lose to Reed, obviously, unless there's like interference or you do some sort of a sneaky finish or a dusty finish. But I'm looking forward to this one. This should be a lot of fun.
I agree. Same here. I'm really looking forward to that match. After that, we had Dragon Lee taking on JD McDonough, because, of course, the LWO is still feuding with Judgment Day with help of AJ Styles. And, of course, Dominic came out to take Finn's place because Finn got caught on the apron and was, ejected from ringside. So Dominic Mysterio came out, but then AJ came to get him out. Really, all this was, it was a good match. Great match. AJ came out towards the end, but JD McDonough, Dragon Lee, like, they put on a great match. This was a good match. I mean, both men can wrestle really, really well. Of course, Dragon Lee ends up winning, hitting the Operation Dragon, but this was really all just to set up what's to come later, which was announced by Adam Pearce, that Dominic Mysterio is going to take on AJ Styles next week or on Monday night for the IC title. So that's pretty much what this was setting up. And I'm not sure if this is where they're going to take it off of Dom, because Dom has at Worlds Collide the Mega Championship with AAA. against Hijo de Vikingo. So I'm wondering if they're going to take the title off of him so that he can take over the Mega Championship. I don't want them to. I would like to see Dom as like a double champion. That would be so cool because he calls himself King of the Luchadores, and I just think it would be cool to see him like super heel on both promotions. Although in Triple A he is like cheered immensely, so I
Yeah.
don't know if he'd really be a heel there. But I don't know your thoughts.
Yeah, no, well, it was a really good match. I enjoyed it. It kind of, I mean, it's the continuation of all these feuds that they've been having, so it all made sense. I'm curious, especially after we saw SmackDown, we saw a title change as well, the U.S. Championship, and we'll get into that. I almost feel like they will since it's the Raw after, and they're still overseas. I think are they doing the Raw from Paris also? I almost feel like they will now,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll kind of bookend this trip with having like the two title changes on like SmackDown and then on Monday nights. The WWE kind of has some symmetry when they do things like this, so I
Mm-hmm.
almost feel like they will. Also because AJ Styles is immensely popular overseas. He's popular everywhere, but he's really popular overseas. So I think this is the time when they will do it. But yeah, it's all good stuff. And I always look forward to anything with AJ Styles in it. So that'll be a good one on Monday.
I agree. I'm looking forward to that match as well. After that, we had Kofi Kingston going off against Penta. It was pretty much just trying to get comeuppance for Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods selling the neck injury that he has. Grayson Waller doing awesome with a petition to ban the Mexican Destroyer. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
And Corey
that's
Graves signing it as Corey Greaves. I thought that was a great touch. So that was cool. Yeah, so Kofi goes away with the win. He has trouble in paradise due to the tomfoolery on the outside.
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it. The saga is going to continue with this one. I would love, and I know this is just me over fantasized booking here, but I would love for Penta to get the help of his brother,
Yeah.
in this
That's
one
where this
because
should really go. It
it
should go
it
in that
should
direction because they
it
haven't done
should.
anything with Penta, like where or Ray Phoenix. Where's Ray Phoenix even been on SmackDown
He
recently?
hasn't wrestled with Andrade either, but that'll be a good trios team to face the New Day, right? Because now they have Grayson Waller.
Because they have
So
Grayson Waller. So yeah, I agree. That would be. I think that would be ideal if they do that.
mhm.
Because it's getting a little stale doing these one-on-ones with Penta, and now you're kind of 50-50 booking Penta now, which
And I love Penta. I love Penta. I want him to. I just think he's so
yeah,
over
I want him
already.
to continue to flourish. So yeah, I think that would be ideal if he gets his brother recruited into this feud.
Yeah, so we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
After that, we had Becky Lynch come out to, I guess, beat Nikki, trying to steal her thunder about challenging her for the title. Obviously, I know we talked about this just before the show started, but with Naomi leaving to go on maternity leave to have her baby, of course, she can't wrestle. She can't defend her title. So, the Clash in Paris match between her
Yeah.
and yeah, her and Stephanie Vaquer is obviously off, and they did touch on that. They're going to find her a new challenger for the title. She's still going to compete for the title, but it's not going to be at Clash in Paris, so they needed a replacement match. What better than with a feud they already had in the works already between Becky and Nikki? So that's pretty much all that promo work did. They reversed out of each other's finishers at that point after a little cheap shot attempt, and Nikki Bella stood tall, of course, but I don't think they'll take the title off of Becky yet.
Yeah, I think it's too early. I will say this, the crowd did not seem really into this back and forth at all. Like I was listening to it and I was like thinking about it and I'm like, man, they're not getting much of a reaction for anything. So I
Mm-mm.
felt a little bit bad for both of them. But to be fair, I haven't been super hyped about this one either, just because I don't like the fact that Nikki Bella feels like she popped out of nowhere to just challenge for this title. I've never been a huge Nikki Bella fan either, so I don't understand why she's in the Hall of Fame other than maybe the Total Divas TV show. People can blast me in the comments about this all they want to. I don't think she's that great of a wrestler, although there are some very questionable people who are in the Hall of Fame anyway. But I digress. I am not super stoked about this one. Not really looking forward to it either. And I do feel like Becky's probably going to retain. It's way too early to take the title off of her at this point. Maybe you see an
Yeah,
appearance from Bailey having a freak. Or Bailey's become schizophrenic
I
now.
love Bailey. No, I love Bailey's work right now. I think it's that inner demon battle. What it's doing is it's keeping me intrigued
Yeah.
into what this is going to become. like what gimmick is she gonna? Because we had the hugger come out in her,
Yeah.
reminding her of like her NXT run, and you had the music in the background, and then you had the role model in the background laughing over it, and it's like an inner battle that she's having between herself, hearing voices and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I like to see how this goes. I like
Yeah.
Bailey. I
And
think
I'm like,
Bailey's awesome.
Get Bailey back in there. Maybe she makes an appearance and intervenes. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I can understand where they're trying to go with this. I just feel that it needed more time to build,
Yeah.
considering that Naomi couldn't. Now they need a title match for the PLE.
Yeah, I
This one
totally
was
get it. Like
this
it
one was
makes
more
sense.
primed to pull the trigger on than what we got going on in SmackDown with the US title being held hostage. So
Yeah.
we can
That
go
is
over that
true.
later. After that, we had a backstage segment with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Io telling her thank you for the help, but that's her family. Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, essentially are her family, and that she needs to back off or whatever. And then Rhea's like, okay, I got you, I understand. So then they did that, but then Io Sky still comes out to help Rhea Ripley on the jump when she's getting jumped. I guess call it moral compass, but that's what ended up happening. Backstage gets her more in trouble with the Kabuki Warriors. So tensions continue to grow. I think that's all this is. I feel like this is all this is doing between Roxanne Perez and, of course, Raquel. It's just kind of using them to stir the controversy between Io Sky and the Kabuki Warriors. Well, mainly Io
Yeah.
Sky
Well,
and Asuka.
and kind of I feel like they're just working towards like a tag match of
Mhm.
Rhea and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. Like like I feel like they're kind of just building to that, and they'll get to that eventually. But yeah, the Judgment Day is kind of just being used as like, pawns in this game. That's all this was. All this has been is just a setup for this friction between Io Sky and the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, speaking of setup, we had AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. Again, AJ Styles going and ends up winning this one. It was a great match
It was
because, of
fun. This one
course,
was my favorite match of the night.
yeah, this was my match of the night. This was an amazing match. The crowd loved it. Who better? Finn Balor, AJ Styles, two former leaders of the Bullet Club, the founder of the Bullet Club and the former leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
I love it. I loved every bit of this match. I thought this match was great. Just lots of back and forth on this one. And AJ Styles eventually picking up the Styles Clash for the win. Dominic was nowhere to be found on this one.
Yeah, that I think was probably more telling than anything else, having him not out there to
Yeah.
support Finn or to intervene in any way.
Especially against
That
AJ
spoke
Styles.
volumes. Yeah,
So that's what ended up leading to the match being set up. And you could see Finn behind Dominic smiling about it because he's like, again, I still feel Finn is like breaking up the Judgment Day little
yeah,
by little. So
he will.
you could just see it. So, but yeah, that was this was my match of the night as well. I thought this was a phenomenal match, no pun intended. But this was a great match. After that, we had our main event of the evening. Lots of stuff going on today.
Yeah,
Braun Breaker versus LA Knight. We knew eventually this was just LA Knight. Kind of mentioned he was the only one of the Fatal Four Way that was actually competing that night. And
yeah,
of course, this was exactly what we thought it was. It started off good match between the two, but then, of course, here comes all the shenanigans, and then everyone ended up coming out, including Bronson. Well, Bronson Reed really couldn't, but he did still somehow manage to come out.
yeah,
Seth Rollins came out, Jey Uso came out, CM Punk came out at the very end, but again, they still stood tall because at the end of it, all three men, I'm talking about Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk were back there in the ring, just jaw jacking and fighting, and it ends with Jey Uso hitting on both of the super kicks. That
yeah.
was it.
That was it. Like it was like a big car wreck. So I think that's where like I enjoyed the match when it
Yeah.
was just Braun and LA Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was LA Knight being more
Same.
aggressive and he was more dialed in and he's like really focused. And then it just evolved into interference. So it's tons and tons of interference, and you had the faces standing tall against heels, but then they all turned on each other, and it's like, oh, this is playing into Seth Rollins' hand. This is exactly what he
Mm-hmm.
wants. And then you had Jey kind of being the one to stand tall. So obviously Jay's not going to win standing tall the show before, but and I presume we'll get into that in a little bit as far as the outcomes on this one. I feel like it's pretty obvious, but it was a fine finish. I tend to dislike when there's just too much, too much interference. But I understand why they've structured it this way because they're all going into the fatal four way, and so they were going to have
Yeah.
to involve everybody.
So yeah, but that was Raw. decent show, just setting up for Sunday for today. So we'll see how that goes, how everything pans out. But again, SmackDown had bigger news,
Yeah.
so we'll let you go over there.
SmackDown, yeah, from Lyon, France, which Lyon has become notorious for the crowd involvement. About a year ago, where they were going crazy, and they did not disappoint. Again, the crowd was into it from start to finish. Very vocal, as expected and as appreciated. Always a great crowd there. Open with Logan Paul. This segment went on for a long time. It was him basically saying he's not a Paris, right? He's a disruptor, and he took credit for Netflix and ESPN deals. It's like all those just the heel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And WWE is becoming the WWE, which I'm like, okay, seriously. Just a lot of silliness. Just Logan Paul trying to work up the crowd. Speaking of French, at some point to work up the crowd more. And then finally, John Cena came out to interrupt this very long promo. The crowd went absolutely bananas for him, as expected. It was a good promo. You had John running down Logan Paul the whole time. And then there was a cool moment where I presume that they scripted this and set it up, because they had the kid who went viral where John Cena roasted him, and then John went and basically issued an apology and was like, hey, I was having a bad night, thank you for supporting me, thank you for being here, and had the moment with the kid. So that was really cool. But
that poor kid was trying to get his camera up so fast.
I know. It was a cool moment, just because that kid just got absolutely roasted and immortalized. It was a cool moment, but they clearly scheduled that ahead of time, because the kid flew in and was like right where he needed to be.
And he was wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, wearing the same outfit
from Berlin. Belgium, sorry.
From Belgium, yeah. But it was a cool moment to have that as well.
It was.
It came full circle. But this was all just basically the big setup for they're facing each other at Clash in Paris coming up later today. So good stuff. Not really anything that was needed, but it's all the table setting that you expect.
Yep, I agree. I love when they let John just like roast people.
Yeah,
it's so good. And again, it's just John doing what he does best, right? And I think I heard an interview about how some people think that I think it was on Busted Open, but they were talking about how John will like obliterate you just to see if you can still get yourself over. And if you do, then you earn his respect.
Right.
And he will help you. And he will help mentor you and teach you and all that good stuff. But it's kind of like a rite of passage. I kind of, when it was put that way, I kind of like that. That's actually like
it's a very charitable way to put it for John Cena, because I don't know that he's always done that for that reason.
I don't think it was for that reason.
I think buried people, and then
just because he felt like it.
Yeah, just because he felt like it. I think he would bury people all the time, and then if it didn't work, he was like, all right, I wasn't able to bury you. Let's come over here and be pals. I think it's more likely that was the motivation initially, because he went out and just buried some careers and buried some gimmicks.
He did. I'm talking about the later years, John.
Yeah, later years, John. Yes.
Yeah.
But earlier years, John, he buried the entire Nexus single-handedly. Like, he buried some really good. He buried the original Bray Wyatt gimmick to a degree. Like, he did it for a lot of selfish reasons before, but I think new John Cena.
New John. Yeah.
New John.
So, but yeah, that was interesting. So I thought that was cool.
It was definitely cool. After this, we had ended up being Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. Like, on the walkout, Charlotte got taken out by the Secret Hervis, and so it was Alexa kind of out there by herself. And then you had Alba Fire jumping in to interfere. Throughout the match, Alexa still ended up winning. She got a surprise roll-up at this one on Chelsea Green, so Chelsea Green continues to lose. But afterwards, Alba Fire came in and attacked. Had Charlotte kind of limp down to the ring to come out with the save for Alexa. She ate none prettier instead, and basically heel stood tall at the end of this one with Green and Alba Fire, obviously building towards eventual tag match with. Have they booked the tag match for the titles with the Secret?
They did. They were supposed to have it on SmackDown, but they had said that oh man,
what, Piper Niven
couldn't get to France. We don't know why, but she couldn't get to France. And that's why, but I'm like, well, then just make it Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. But I get it. They want it to be the Secret Hervis. I get it. I understand. So, I mean, that is what it is. It's all good. So that's why it ended up being a one-on-one match with Chelsea Green and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, so it was what it was. They'll eventually get to that tag title match. We got the explanation after this that Cody Rhodes and his wife Brandy welcomed a new baby, so that explains his absence. That's why he hasn't been medically cleared. But congratulations on the new addition to the family. Now the Cody missing in action makes a lot more sense now. So it sounds like he's healthy and fine, and good on them, and congrats to them as well. After this, we just got Aleister Black's promo and then Damian Priest's rebuttal afterwards. So teaser. They continue to tease that one. And then we got Michin versus Kiana James. So the stipulation on this one is if Michin beats Kiana, that they were very ambiguous. So like she may possibly get a title shot. It was like, well, no, she'll get a title shot or she won't get a title shot. But they kept saying maybe possibly a potential future title shot. And it sounded like Michael Cole wasn't totally sure.
Yeah.
But he kept saying that. The match lasted like 4 seconds because she immediately Kiana James like went to hit her with the purse and then she caught her in a roll up. Like I was like, seriously, guys, like, did we need to do this? Maybe they were running out of time because the John Cena promo ran a long time. That's all I can think of.
Like, hey, we still got other matches we need to have.
Yeah, they're like, we got a long main event. We got some other stuff to get to, and at this one was over in a blink. Julia happened to be down there as well, the U.S. champion that nobody remembers because she's never defending her title and she's never there. She was there on the walkout, and then she proceeded to attack Michin right afterwards. So I guess we'll get a match from them eventually, unless they didn't book it for Clash in Paris, did they? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get to see a match. This whole thing just felt like it was rushed, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. And I'm not a huge fan of what they've been doing with Julia because she has really been missing in action since becoming.
Yeah, we haven't seen her showcase her talent. She's really good. I think that's the thing is like she's really good. I don't understand why. I don't know, because they don't have an opponent for her. I don't know. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. After this, we got a fun segment with Drew McIntyre. He came out, called out Randy Orton immediately because Randy hit him with the RKO last week. And Drew kind of went on to say, hey, if Randy believed Cody was his friend, he was wrong. And then he very accurately pointed out that when they fought at King of the Ring, that Randy was not going to pull the trigger on the punt. He was holding back, but Cody didn't hesitate at all and attack the lower back that he knew was injured, which I was like, that's totally true.
That is very valid.
Like, it's 100% valid. Like, there was nothing in this promo that Drew said that was out of bounds or a lie, which this is what I love about Drew McIntyre. I love that he goes out there and he always is going to give you like, here's the total negative version of everything, but he's never wrong. He's 100% correct when he's talking about it. And you're like, and it's not even like it's a huge stretch. And so, he pointed that out. Drew ended up hitting a Glasgow kiss out of nowhere on Randy to knock him down. Went for the Claymore, missed it. And then he got hit with a draping DDT from Randy. Security, of course, ran down, which they always do. They always miraculously intervene with Randy Orton before he could get the RKO in. And then, of course, Randy does what he does and RKOs all the security staff, including Hurricane Helms, who came out to be a voice of reason. So always good to see the Hurricane.
Yes.
I just wish they'd hit his music. Like, they love hitting music. Just
stand back.
There's a hurricane. It's like just hit that when he comes out. But I always loved it. I really enjoyed Hurricane Helms, so it was good to see him. But yeah, that was that. Obviously,
Drew and match. Randy almost punted him too, so he kind of thought about it for like all of like a split second. But I mean, I feel like this is gonna be, because Randy was even like, you got a good point. I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of like Drew kind of setting he's not setting it because it's already been in process.
The seeds there.
Well, I think it's been going for Randy to turn heel. We talked about it before about him hearing the voices again and almost punting a few people, and this was no different. So I think this is all just kind of a lead up to that. So when Cody does come back, I mean, I don't know. We can only speculate, but it's been a while since we've seen heel Randy, and I think he's lurking somewhere. And
I'd like to see heel Randy again, and I'd like to see heel Randy as a world champion again. So I'm sure they'll eventually get there. Hopefully they'll get there. And then after this, we got Miz and Carmelo Hayes taking on the Street Profits. This is the number 1 contender match. Right before this match, we had a Bo Dallas sighting backstage.
Both teams,
yeah. I was like, he popped in and talked trash to the Miz and Melo, and then match itself was good, solid stuff. Ending, I was just like a little silly for me because when they came out, you had the Miz on the ring apron, and then you had the Wyatt Six pop up at ringside and just kind of stand there and kind of scare the Miz. He was turned around and he got bumped off of the apron. And that was the opening that the Street Profits got. They hit the Revelation on Carmelo Hayes, and they advanced. So they're going to face the Wyatt Six at Clash in Paris. They did just announced right afterwards. So there's that title match. It just didn't really fit with everything else that we've seen in the kind of Carmelo Miz. There wasn't any real like Melo could get mad at the Miz, but the truth is the Miz really was distracted and really did get hit from behind and knocked down. So it's going to be hard to blame him for that
It
loss at
is,
this
but
point.
I think Bo was setting the seeds of dissension, sowing the seeds of dissension between both teams. I think we talked about this before. How Street Profits they've kind of I think they I'm probably gonna people aren't gonna like this, but I feel they're overdue for a split. I love the Street Profits, I really do, but I honestly feel that I don't know. I just feel like Montez Ford is like the Shawn Michaels of the group.
Yeah.
And I like Dawkins. Don't get me wrong. I think he's awesome. I think he's good. But I could see Montez as a main eventer on his
Yeah.
own. And I think
Yeah. He's
that,
got the potential.
and
And,
I think, yeah,
I think Dawkins is holding him back a little.
yeah. So like, they're like the Rockers, and it's like he's Marty Jannetty,
Yeah.
and Montez is Shawn Michaels. So, I mean, and it's not saying anything bad. And I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I think that's
It
what
just is
Bo's.
what it is.
Yeah, Bo's kind of laying in that doubt, even with Mello Don't Miz. I mean, obviously that's already been there, so he's just trying to help push that along. But we'll see. I feel like the Wyatts, because of that, and I say all that because I feel the Wyatts will retain. But I think this is going to be where we start to see that split.
And it's almost like, now I will say this. I feel like Bo, well, especially the Wyatt Six, they usually just come after people who betrayed their
Hmm.
family. Like that's what they started with.
Yeah,
Now you almost have with this, you have him stepping into like carrying Cross's role of like,
yeah.
I'm going to sneak around and break people up now, which I'm like, well, that's not really what he was about before. But if you watch it, you're like, this is what you guys had carrying Cross doing. And now you just kind of shifted Bo into that role.
But in all fairness, this is what they should have had them doing from the
Probably.
beginning.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they should have had them doing this from the beginning. Like, let Bo do all the talking and do this, and then have have his creatures lurking around.
Yeah.
Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Like
Like
he's got
that.
his minions to sick on
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I like it. We'll see. But yeah, it was what Karrion Cross was doing.
Yeah,
In fairness, in
like
fairness.
they basically just said, "Hey, he's not here anymore. We're gonna just slot you into this role." After this, you had Jade and Tiffany Stratton backstage, and Jade was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm the number one contender for your title," and then they just jot back and forth. So they're gonna face off at some point. Main event time. We had Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa for the U.S. Championship. This one was it wasn't an overly long match, although we did get 2 commercial breaks. One was not a picture in picture, so that was a little bit of a bummer. It was a fun match. You did have all the MFTs out at ringside, and then kind of early on and throughout the match, you had like Jimmy came out to lend support and attack the MFTs, and then Jacob Fatu made his return. So they were kind of there to clear out all the interference and really leave it up to Solo and Sami Zayn. Then, essentially, long story short, at the end of the match, Sami hit back-to-back Helluva kicks. And for me, surprisingly won, because I didn't expect him to win here. But he is the new U.S. champion. Congrats to Sami Zayn. The crowd was obviously behind him. He had a lot of support. And for me, somewhat surprisingly, Solo Sikoa dropped the title right before Clash in Paris. So what are your thoughts here, Big D?
I think it's overdue. I think Sami benefited tremendously from winning this title, one of the titles that's eluded him. I think it's a good stepping stone. I'm glad they didn't try and force him into the main event title picture again. I think this is a good stepping stone. Let him be U.S. champ for a while. Let him hold it for a little while.
Yeah.
Solo, let's be honest, Solo has developed so well as a character. He doesn't need the title.
No, he doesn't.
He really doesn't. Like, he doesn't. Losing the title doesn't hurt him at all because of the way he's built himself up, and he's grown and become this uber heel. Even, just like I don't think he needed the title at all to keep being him. So it made sense to let Sami win it, because Sami really needed to benefit off of something, and this was it. So I think that's a good move. I like the change.
Yeah. And that was the end of SmackDown. So now, rapid fire, Big D. We've got Clash in Paris coming up in a couple of hours. We're gonna run through the roster and give our quick hits on who we think is gonna win, how we think this is gonna go.
All right. So first we have, in a generational battle, John Cena versus Logan Paul. I got John Cena winning this one, although I'm worried.
I figured it has to be John Cena unless you get a Brock Lesnar sighting, and
which
Lesnar
is possible,
but it might end in DQ because it's not a no DQ match, right?
No, it's not
at this point. So Lesnar might show up, and it'd still be a DQ win for Cena. So I'm going to say Cena, no matter what.
All right. And then after that, we have the Fatal 4-Way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, LA Knight. Seth Rollins, in my opinion, is walking away with this one.
I would agree. I don't see how they possibly take the title off him yet. I think he's got to win. I'm going to fingers crossed and hope that LA Knight wins and know that it's not going to happen. But I'm picking Seth Rollins because it's just too early. But a man can dream that maybe LA Knight would walk away.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna obviously there's no disqualification, so we're gonna have all kinds of interference and shenanigans because, I mean, Bronson Reed has a match that night, but I mean, Braun Breaker doesn't. So I mean, he's a one man wrecking crew. So we'll see how that goes. Speaking of, we have Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. I'm torn because part of me would like to see Bronson Reed win. I feel like that would be a good win for him. But I feel they're gonna put Roman over because he really hasn't wrestled much, and it's his first PLE back. I think no, is it? I don't remember.
I mean, he had the tag match, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Yeah,
but
he had
still,
the tag
he
match.
can't. I don't think they're gonna have him lose right now. I think he's gonna go over him.
I agree. I think this will be the opening match. I think it's going to be
Probably.
the opening match, and I think Roman will win. And then I think that gives Bronson Reed time to recover so that he can interfere in the main event. It's kind of the way I see it. But yeah, I'm going Roman Reigns.
I feel the first match is either going to be the John Cena match or it's going to be the Nikki Bella Becky Lynch match. But we have Sheamus versus Rusev in a good old fashioned Donnybrook match. I hate when they give them long names like that. Yeah. But anyway, it's an extreme rules match, pretty much. Anything goes. So no rules. Yeah. I feel Rusev's going to win this one.
I'm going Sheamus.
It's going to be a brutal match.
It's going to be a brutal match. You can't have Sheamus lose the Donnybrook match. I think Rusev has more to gain to win. So I think it makes more sense to book him to win. But I'm just going to go Sheamus because I'm not going to pick against Sheamus in a Donnybrook.
Yeah, I know. You've always been a Sheamus fan.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Not going to do it.
All good. After that, we have Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. We kind of briefly spoke on this, but I think it's too early for Becky to drop the title to Nikki. Nikki really doesn't gain anything off of it. She's already a Hall of Famer. She's already has a stellar career. I mean, she's
not going to be hanging around to defend the title either.
I don't think so. She hasn't really been around TV that much anyway. I mean, I know she has her own stuff going on. I think this is just kind of I think Becky's going to retain.
Agreed. Becky retains.
Then we have the WWE Tag Team Championship match: Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis of the Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits. We talk about the Wyatt Six is going to retain. I think they're going to retain, and this is going to start to kind of put the wedge in between Dawkins and Montez Ford.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Wyatt Six probably will retain here. They retained at TLC, so they already have one title defense, but I still feel like it's too early to take it off. And they have to deal with all of the Wyatt Six unless you're going to have other tag teams run down and interfere, which hopefully you won't because that's always been the gimmick they've done. Could, but I'll go Wyatt Six here.
How crazy would it be? I just thought of this. Literally, just hit me right now. If their Six's gimmick becomes they not only beat tag teams, but they split them up, and any tag team that faces them ends up splitting up because they're too much for them, and they create that they kind of the buildup is always them causing sows of dissension between the two or seeds of dissension between the two, and then they end up splitting up. That would be such a cool gimmick.
Oh yeah,
but it'd be dangerous though because you're gonna destroy the whole tag division. But
you could do it with the Street Profits if you say we want to do a singles run with Montez Ford, and then Mello Don't Miz, you're already heading towards a split because they're not a real tag team. You can at least do it with them.
But then you need a team that's so tight and so close together that it's unbreakable, like the Motor City Machine Guns or DIY.
Yeah. Nah, we'll see.
It'd be a gift and a curse. I don't know.
It would be.
That's what we have on the card for Clash in Paris in a few hours.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But that's what we got for today. And we'll be back with our recap of Clash in Paris as well tomorrow. So you'll be getting twice as much of the recap this week. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But we appreciate your support as always. Remember, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave us your comments and all that good stuff. We love to hear from you, even when it's negative stuff. We say, bring it on, especially the angry comments. We're all about that. But until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you soon.